And we're live. And with me, I have Anders. Thank you for coming, Anders.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And on Twitter, there was this crazy hashtag, I am a feminist. And me and Anders are going to poke fun of it. And I am going to post this link on Twitter so people could know about it. And you could just retweet me.
Yep, of course. Let's see here.
Oh, I haven't posted it yet. Um, let's let's see. I'm about to post it. Let's see. Doing a hangout with Anders on hashtag I am a feminist. And it should be on Twitter right now.
Okay. Yep, there we go. Retweet it out. All right, so let's see here. So we have I am a feminist. So let me start screen sharing this. So what exactly is the point of this particular hashtag? In all honesty, what do you think they're trying to accomplish here with this?
Damage control. And I would show it myself, except I've been blocked. I wonder if I would see the person I blocked me on your end.
Maybe, I don't know. I think I have like I don't even think anybody's blocked me, but then again, I don't go out of my way to earn blocks from people like this. But I think this is kind of entertaining. We already have a appeal to the definition fallacy. I don't understand why this is such a dirty word to some people. Here's the definition for clarity.
Yeah, yeah. She is probably one of the few people that didn't block me. Like I already responded to her earlier. She didn't block me, but quite a few other people did. So like now when I go to the hashtag, I
I
mostly
can't
see
spell.
anti-feminist. I hardly see any feminists there now.
Oh, hell. Let's do some trolling while we're here. Appeal to dictionary fallacy. All right, 59 new results. Let's see. I am a feminist because I want my kids to grow up in a time where women aren't seen as objects.
Oh God.
Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy.
I mean, women, we sexually objectify men too. It's kind of like sexual attraction is.
Chris Hemsworth in Ghostbusters.
I mean, it's kind of like, what world would we live in if men and women didn't want to mate with each other? Then children wouldn't exist.
Exactly. I find this whole false war between the sexes to be incredibly disheartening and incredibly disingenuous because ultimately, at the end of the day, women are far more powerful than people want to give them credit for, and instead of embracing that power and strength that's inherent to femininity, feminists say, no, 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 no. You're weak. You're victims. You're terrible, oppressed people. And I find that ridiculous. That's absurd. I don't think women are children. I don't think women need to be coddled. I think women are inherently strong and powerful creatures, and I reject the idea that you have to coddle them, you have to make exceptions for them, you have to have like these safe spaces and things like that. And the whole idea of like microaggressions just offends me.
Yeah. Man, this just goes to show like how much I've been blocked because I don't see any of those people on my end.
Oh, well, let's here we go. I am a feminist. Feminism is great. Feminazis are cancer. Learn the difference before advocating, please. um okay, sure. Yeah, second wave feminists were fine. They had some good points to make. They got what they wanted, and then when they got what they wanted, they went away. I mean, people like Camille Pagula and Christina Hoff Sommers are excellent, amazing, um, intelligent people who are very much facts and evidence based individuals, and they're second wave feminists. And I have nothing but good things to say about them and respect for them because they're not crazy. They're not trying to instigate a war between the sexes. I mean, there's a reason why Christina Hoff Sommers is based mom. She doesn't go by any of this third wave ridiculousness. She goes by what the facts and the statistics actually are. And at the end of the day, that puts her at odds with these third wave waivers because she's not nuts. She doesn't hate men. She's not some sort of like misanthropic lesbian and a gland whale.
Yeah. I wonder if I can find the person. I'm going to go back to my tweets and find the person who blocked me. That's the way people can know what I'm talking about. Like, that's the way they could catch up. Keep going.
All right, let's see. I am a feminist because boys are icky. Good job, good job. Troll tweet, I like it. Let's see.
Oh, I found a person who blocked me, and I can't read their original tweets. Maybe you could read it. I guess I would screen share my end too. Let's see. It's kind of like there's this person I can't see her original statement because it says Cara Calavera, you're blocked from her. And my statements were if women don't see the importance of feminism, then feminism definitely is necessary. Try looking at men's issue. Feminism ignores men going to jail longer than women for the exact same crime. Let's see. Feminists ignore high male suicide rates or men who can never see their children again because women are favored. And here we go. I am a woman and I haven't been harassed walking alone at night, and men gets harassed on the internet too. You may be able to see her tweets, but I can't.
There was a recent study that TLDR took a look at, and basically it showed that the vast majority of quote-unquote misogynistic comments are the result of women hating on other women.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a lot of their arguments just don't pass muster.
Yeah, they have really bad arguments. But I think it's the data somewhere that women say sluts and bitch and hoe a lot more on Twitter than men do. But I think that's because there are a lot more women overall like the vast majority of Twitter users are women. I mean, I don't know. Let me check. Like, Twitter demographics. I'll look it up, but I think women use Twitter more than men. Oh, go on.
So it looks like the trolls are coming in now because I am a feminist. I need feminism because I sometimes have nothing else to laugh at. Let's see. I am a feminist because this liberal government has helped me play a victim this whole time and to blame the white men for everything. Nice to see that the Milo supporters are out in force as well. Let's see.
It looks like I might have been wrong.
I am a feminist because I wanted to join a cult, but Scientology was too expensive.
Looks like how it's wrong. It seems like this is saying it's about the same. Like men, I think are 24%, and women, I think are 21% on Twitter. So it looks like I was wrong the whole time. My bad.
That's okay. Voting for Hillary because she's a woman is like drinking antifreeze because it looks like Gatorade. Very true. Let's see. Come on. The trolls definitely are taking over.
Yeah. Like I wasn't sure if it was me or not because I know I've been blocked by quite a few people. Let's see. Yeah, because for me, I mostly just saw anti-feminists. I thought that maybe we could have got some more feminists on your end. I saw a bunch of feminists earlier though, like earlier on in the day. There were a bunch of feminists, but they were saying the exact same cliche things that have been debunked multiple times. Like, I am a feminist because I am afraid to walk alone at the streets at night. It was like, seriously? And then I got blocked from that woman.
I can't tell if this is a Poe or not. I am a feminist because apparently it's still necessary to justify why I am a feminist. Honestly, can't. And everyone just get on board already. I don't know if this is a Poe or not.
Yeah, but some people, it is hard to.
Oh, nope. Serious. Researcher, writer, interested in child literacy development, fiction writing, and all varieties of soft cheese. Yep. Definitely a feminist.
Yeah, somebody got on my ass because they thought I was a real feminist. You want to see the tweets that got me in trouble with people?
Sure.
Let's see. I would show the tweets that got me in trouble earlier.
Optimist, the glass is half full. Pessimist, the glass is half empty. Feminist, the glass is being raped.
Here we go. I think it's this one. Basically, I said, I am a feminist because we need a corrupt liar like Hillary Clinton as president of the United States, and to keep men from seeing their children. And then Aiden Greer says, "What the fuck, bitch?" And then I had to explain everything. Like,
apparently, here's the joke, or here's the joke. Straight over their head.
I mean, I did say corrupt liar. I mean, if I
yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, like come on.
Oh, and somebody is giving Cara Calavera some condolence. Cara felt the need to block me, and somebody says to Cara, the sad thing is it only takes once. You may always be safe. It's kind of like, seriously, you really think that women need to feel safe walking down the streets at night? Because that's what she said earlier. And it's like, really, really. Go ahead.
um. Yep, the trolls are taking over. Why feed a man when you can eat twice? I am a feminist.
Oh, that's a good one. So the trolls really have taken over. That would explain why I didn't see any feminists. I thought I just gotten blocked by everybody. Let's see. But I did get into a few arguments with people. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I don't think I've changed any minds. But I tried to make really good points, though.
I had to retweet this one out at Bearing Sugar Tits and my friend Taz. They're all Australians. I drink Foster's. I am a feminist.
Let's see.
I hope at least Taz sees that. He'll get it. Let's see. Don't know why this is a trending topic right now, but it gives me the excuse to use this gift. I am a feminist. You're ridiculous and men's rights is nothing. Oh, God.
Let's see. Let's return notifications. Google Chrome. I mean, I was in a little bit with an argument with this person who calls themselves Humorless Femme. They said, I have not been harassed walking alone at nights, but I don't tell other women they're making it up. I said, nowadays you could never know. So many people are fighting in the oppression Olympics to see who has the most points. Humorless Femme says, I still don't call other women liars, unlike you. So I am a feminist because even you deserve equal opportunity. I say, how am I unequal to a man? What rights do men have that I don't have? I could tell you so many advantages that women have. This person says, nope, you can't. Off you go. And I actually showed this person proof, but this person didn't the person didn't address it. I could let's see, Twitter. I would have to go to my name on Twitter. I would have to find it. You could address the next point.
This is good. This is good. Okay, Ella Dawson. I am a feminist because it's still too hard for women to share their experiences online without being terrorized. And then this link goes to her WordPress blog. How to give a TEDx talk when the internet wants you to shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's a really good one. Let's see.
I have written about the price I pay for being a woman with an opinion online. You mean nothing?
Okay, I found it. I found what I was looking for, the proof that I have that she didn't address. Hold on, I'll share so you guys could see. Here as left off. Nope, no, you can't. Off you go. Here, it's like, I'm like, I gave you a link to the advantages women actually have over men in the West. Here it is again. And this is like listverse.com. And listverse.com, it's like 10 examples of men's issues the media loves to ignore. And it addresses many of the anti-feminist points like violence, depression, education, and it debunks the wage gap. Like it says that the wage gap is myth, and um, it talks about the you know domestic abuse, prostate cancer, workplace deaths, homelessness, family courts, masculinity. I think I haven't read through it. I read through parts of it too. But still, let's see. Of all the problems I've mentioned above, none is so damaging to men as our own notions of masculinity. For all internet commenters like to claim feminism is holding men back and turning us into victims. The reality is we're doing a perfectly good job of it ourselves. As fathers, we teach boys to lash out instead of restrain themselves. I don't agree with this person targeting insulting communities so far.
Mm-hmm.
As a culture, we teach men to hide their emotions even if it kills them. That's bullshit. I probably should have gave the link. I only half read it. Um, as a society, we teach boys to aim low and not to educate themselves for a well-paying job. And look where it's got us: prone to suicide, prone to homelessness, often unable to see our kids, and unwilling to confront violence with anything more than violence. As journalist Amy Fogg recently said, the truth is that even in every single feminist of every single flavor abandoned feminism today and went back to bed with a good book for the rest of her life, it would make barely a jot of difference in the real um, to the real and significant problems facing men, and until we find a way to separate those good parts of traditional masculinity from the absurd damaging ones, this will always be the case. Um,
See that's the problem right there. This idea that there is such a thing as like toxic masculinity. No, there isn't such a thing as toxic masculinity any more so than there is such a thing as toxic femininity. I mean, people have issues, and they will always have issues. They're not inherent to their gender or anything like that, or forced upon them by some like specific, some like gender-based social construct or anything like that. It's that people have problems, people need to deal with these problems, and those problems are probably going to be somewhat unique to each individual. It's just kind of absurd, the idea of like toxic masculinity. I reject that notion.
yeah, I also reject the idea of toxic masculinity. I definitely should have read through the link instead of just tweeting it. um,
That's okay.
yeah, everybody makes mistakes. Should I read the whole thing for us to debunk it? Because it seems like the people on Twitter are just trolling it, even on your end.
um yeah, sure. It's your stream, so whatever you want to do.
If you want to read more tweets, we could do that too. It's just, it seems like there's no feminists to complain about. But
Yeah, it seems like they're all getting drowned out by the anti-feminists and the trolls, basically just wanting to get them to fuck off. So I think we have successfully witnessed the demise of I am a feminist. So I think we can wrap that portion of the stream up, and we can move on to something else.
But there were many of them earlier, though. Like you totally missed it before it really was filled with feminists. You missed it, and it really was just filled with feminists, and I guess we missed it. I saw it earlier today, I guess, but I interviewed Secular Duchess, also known as Griffiths. Lexi.
Yeah. I know her. We've spoken a few times.
Yeah. Do you want to read number 2, Family Courts?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. A century or so ago, women basically didn't have rights. Husbands could rape their wives, beat them, and refuse them access to their children. So we men are a heck of a long way from having things as bad as our great-great-grandmothers. But it's a disturbing fact that bias has slipped into the modern family court system, and it's not doing anyone any favors. In 2008, Newsweek noted that women win sole custody battles 5 out of 6 times. As family law attorney David Pisiera recently pointed out, in the Huffington Post, the reason for this is a basic sexism on the part of conservative male judges, who tend to still think women should be at home with the children while men are out earning money. This leads to a strange state of affairs where men are often automatically considered to be a bad parent, even in most cases where they're demonstrably not. Now, I'm not saying that there are no bad fathers or that divorce automatically results in fatherless kids. Surveys suggest most couples are fine dividing up visitation rights by themselves. However, we should be looking to chase out any bias we see in the court system, no matter how small. Otherwise, we don't have real equality. One issue. It's not that conservative male judges are necessarily thinking that the women should be at home and therefore raising the children. It actually has more to do with the tender years doctrine that was pushed by feminists, of all things, to basically state that in the earliest years of childhood development that the children should always default to the mother, and this is kind of expanded out into a just in general women are the default care providers, and that's why you see some of these issues. I don't think it's necessarily the conservative male judges thinking that being sexist or anything like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think it has to go back to this legal precedent that was set by the tender years doctrine.
Yeah, for me, the way I read it, the way I perceived it was, it sounded like it's saying that women getting the children has to do with sexism towards women. Like conservative men are looking at women as, like the mothers and the caretakers. Therefore, it's actually being sexist against women. I actually heard an argument like that before. Like, I was arguing with the feminists on Facebook, and they were like saying like the reason why the courts favor women is because they're sexist against women, because they look at women as wanting to take care of the kids. They just see a mother, like women are the baby makers, and it's a woman's job to take care of children. Therefore, when a woman gets custody of the child and men are never allowed to see their children again, it's actually still sexism against women.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of these things have a bit of a feminist bend to it. Number 3, homelessness. I'll let you read this one too.
All right. In 2007, a survey carried out by the U.S. Mayor's Congress found that nearly 70% of American homeless people were men. As a ratio, that's absurd. And guess what? In other countries, it's even worse. A random survey in Amsterdam placed the percentage of homeless who were male at a stupefying 88%. Even in countries with a smaller gender gap like Australia, men still count for over 50% of the general homeless population. And once you're out on the streets, the gender gap only gets worse. According to a Danish report, homeless men die on average of 5 years earlier than homeless women. How such a massive difference is even possible, I don't know. But for a whole host of reasons, each one probably more stupid than the last, men are statistically more likely to wind up on the streets and die earlier once they get there. And the media responds by doing its best to never even mention this problem.
Okay, I agree with this. I totally and completely agree with that part. It at least this one didn't seem like the first one, which seems to like masculinity. Like feminists, it's not the real people hurting masculinity. It's men. It's still talking about how masculinity is toxic. And the toxic masculinity of the first one really made me feel guilty about sending it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are some behavioral traits like a greater desire, a greater willing, well, excuse me, not desire, a greater willingness to partake in high risk reward situations, where if in men they're far more likely to do things like start their own business, take up larger responsibilities and things like that, where they're more likely to, if they succeed really, really well. But if they fail really, really big too. So there is a tendency within male behavioral patterns in general to take bigger risks, and those risks, especially financially, will either pay out big or hit really, really hard. So I think there is a behavioral component to the reason why men are homeless on average more often than women. But of course, that's not the whole story, and it never will be. You can't take something like homelessness and turn it into some simple, easy to explain with a single, like, oh, here's one single issue that will explain homelessness everywhere. No, it's not that simple. Things are never that black and white, and things are never that easy to explain away, ever.
Okay. Uh, do you want to read about prostate cancer? Do you want to skip this one? I don't know if it. I haven't read
Uh,
any of these.
I don't care. It's your stream, like I said.
Um, let's see. I guess we'll skip this one. Let's see. Domestic abuse. Ooh. Want to read this one?
Sure. It's a depressing fact of life that some people get off on controlling others. Since life is horrible, this often translates to marriages where one partner physically or emotionally abuses the other. Usually the victims are women and the abusers male, hence the existence of women's shelters, charities, and so on. Thankfully, decades of effort has made women more aware of their existence, removed the stigma of seeking help. The same cannot be said for men's shelters. The Guardian recently revealed that 40% of all UK domestic violence victims are male. In America, the numbers are almost as bad. Shockingly, more married men are victims of abuse than women in 2012, yet men's shelters remain almost non existent. In the UK, for example, there are 33 beds available in the whole country compared with 4,000 for women. Worst of all, male police officers are often unsympathetic to abuse victims, leading to a frighteningly low conviction rate, even by domestic violence standards. For a whole host of stupid reasons, our culture continues to see men who are abused by women as pathetic, unmanly, and even undeserving of sympathy. And that needs to change because victims are victims no matter who they are.
Mm.
This reminds me of the shoot. I forget her name. She was a second wave feminist who started one of the domestic violence shelters in the UK, if not the first. She essentially was run out of the UK because she realized that men also needed domestic violence shelters as well. And when she tried to stick up for that, she was basically shouted down and was told to essentially shut up. And for a very long time, she was, I believe, she was essentially no platformed in all of the universities in her country, forcing her to attempt to speak outside of the UK.
Well, reading this, I mean, reading, let's see, is the pressing fact of life that people get off on controlling orders. Since life is horrible, this often translates to marriages where one partner physically or emotionally abuses the other. Usually, the victims are women and abusers, men, hence women's shelters and charities, and so on. Okay, I'm glad that this article is trying to shed light on men's issues, but at the exact same time, it seems like they're giving men a little bit of a sting. You know, that's how rubs me. You know, like victims have usually been victims, and abusers usually have been male. I mean, it seems like they're trying to give like men a little bit of like a little sting. Like it seems that they are trying to help, but at the exact same time, I don't know. Like the first paragraph rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I agree with you. The first paragraph of that particular section was a little incongruous with the statistics that they would later go on to cite.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot like black people are usually lazy, thieves, and murdering, but these are the problems that black people face. And, it's kind of like, it's nice to mention, problems black people face, but when you say liars, thieves, murderers, and lazy, it's kind of off putting to the help you want to address. Like, can you just go to where what you want to address without the little bites?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so next section, wages.
Right. Oh, want to take it?
Yeah, sure. I'll read this. You've probably heard of the gender pay gap. It's basically a polite way of saying our society is screwed
up. Sorry.
You okay?
I think I could use a little bit of water. Do you mind if I go get some water?
No, yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just getting a little bit of a headache. My head hurts so bad. You can go on, though.
All right. Okay, chat. How are we doing today? We good? I see all of 3 people watching. No, chat is quiet. All right. Oh, that's okay. All right, well, let's see here. Section 6. You've probably heard of the gender pay gap. It's basically a polite way of saying our society is screwed up, paying one set of earners more than the other, based on nothing but the shape of their genitals. Currently, women earn on average only 80% of what men do. So it can be tempting to cheer when you hear the trend is reversing until you realize what that actually means. By analyzing the pay of workers in 147 of the biggest US cities, researchers discovered that unmarried, childless women under 30 are now making 8% more than their male equivalents. In Atlanta and Memphis, they were making a staggering 20% more, with New York women not far behind with an extra 17%. The main reasons for this is the education gap we just talked about. Women as a group are more qualified, so are therefore entitled to earn more. The same response would be for the mainstream media to use the story as a way of focusing attention on boys' saddening lack of aspiration, with the aim of creating an equally educated and paid society, instead of it's largely being ignored by everyone but angry men's rights types, which isn't helping at all. Um, this okay. First off, I'm sure anyone who's listened to this is probably fully aware that Milo has thoroughly debunked the pay gap. Essentially, it's different choices in career paths. Women primarily go into part-time jobs with more flexible working hours, whereas men tend to go into full-time jobs with less flexible working hours and do more overtime. Hence the pay gap. However, there is one actual issue here, which is the growing disparity of college degrees between men and women. And while this is an issue and something that should be addressed, there is also a fundamental problem with the way that colleges are run. This whole idea that everybody has to have a college education is rather absurd, in all honesty. I mean, it completely neglects the trade schools and this idea that you have to go to college to make a good living. Far from it. If you go into a trade school, you'll be making more money right out of the gate than pretty much anybody with a college degree, and probably have, last I checked, more job security as well. So, well, this particular section of the article does bring out some interesting issues with the growing disparity between men and women on earning degrees in college. It kind of ignores some other very real issues.
I'm back. I felt like I was dying back there.
It
Man,
almost sounded like it. Are you okay?
yeah, I drunk some water, and I mean my throat was hurting. My throat is still hurting. Like my throat hurts really bad, but I still want to go on. It's like that's why I've been having you read instead of reading it myself. My throat is just in pain right now. But there is something I want to address on. Let's see. The same the same response would be for the mainstream media to use the story as a way of focusing attentions on boys' saddening lack of aspiration with the aim of creating an equal education based society instead of largely being ignored by everyone but angry men's rights type, which isn't happening at all. I mean, angry men's rights type. I mean, if you really care about boys, then the men's rights activists shouldn't be the angry men's rights type. I mean, they have the rights to be angry, or at least
Yeah.
a really good reason
Well.
to be. I mean, wait.
Mhm.
It's like shouldn't if this person really wants to help out men's issues, shouldn't be shouldn't the men's rights activists be natural allies as opposed to enemies that this person wants to make fun of? And talking about on boys saddening lack of aspirations. I mean, we live in a pretty much female supremacist society, and at least like England is really bad. Like some companies give women paid period leave, like they're getting paid to take a week off because they have their period on. And now, and this was talking about boys saddening lack of aspiration, when really, I mean, boys are treated poorly by society. I mean, Sargon of Akkad said to Christina Hoff Sommers in on one live stream that they're now giving little boys pills to act more girly, because like men, little boys can't sit still, and little girls are better at, keeping quiet and sitting still. So some schools are giving little boys drugs. So it's kind of like on boys setting lack of aspiration. I mean, you're insulting boys in a society that is giving men a harder time as of late. There are talks about toxic masculinity and fragile masculinity, and you
For
know,
sure.
it's like what men are going through. I mean, it's not quite the same as what blacks went through during the time of segregation, but it seems like we're heading down that road.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, so yeah,
What did
so
you want to say?
oh, I completely forgot while I was sitting here listening. It wasn't terribly important anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
like I know that, like I know I told you to wait some minutes, but you did seem to have something you wanted to say, and so
oh no, it's fine, it's fine. Go, go on ahead to the next section.
right. I wouldn't think that this article was that bad. If it was that bad, I wouldn't have said to um, education. View, please. Want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. We, hopefully, all know by now that neither gender is more innately intelligent than the other. So, what would you expect to see if you looked at graduation rates across the country? A level playing field? Not quite. Studies show a vast gender gap opening up in education, but not in the way your sexist great grandpa would have supposed. In pretty much all measurements of attainment, we men are trailing women by an embarrassing margin. 60% of all bachelor's degree in America are held by women, with similar numbers in Britain. Well, this is great for the sisterhood. It leads to some shocking social consequences. The youth unemployment rate for black male dropouts, for example, now stands at over 50%, a number so large it's unreal. So, what's causing this destructive trend? Well, you can put that down to our good old masculine expectations again. According to the LA Times, only about half of all boys expect to work in well paid professional jobs when they grow up, compared to nearly three-quarters of girls. In other words, we're somehow teaching young boys that either learning is girl stuff or there's no point in being aspirational. Either way, it's a hell of a dumb lesson.
Oh my goodness, this article is so sexist against men while trying to supposedly help men out with their issues.
Yeah, I mean, there is kind of a, like you were talking about earlier, this um, kind of feminization of learning, and especially at the younger levels, when the real foundations are being laid for for education. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that if you start making it so that if you scream women are being oppressed and we have to get them into higher ed over and over and over again, and then when you start forcing shit like this to happen, it really doesn't surprise me that you start seeing these kinds of issues.
Yeah, for me, I mean, looking at it, it goes back to it's like they're I can't tell if they're really trying to help men or if this article is about attacking men. It seems like they're roasting men while trying to supposedly help men. It's like, but not in the way of your sexist great grandpa would have supposed. It's kind of like your sexist great grandpa. It's like all of these little stings here and there where they're giving men a little bites, and not that, but it's like the black male dropouts. I mean, what about white men? You know, like sure, but it's like a little bit of a progressive spin. Like, wow, if we attack men, we hurt black men. It's like what? It's like whoa. I mean, like man, when we attack men, black men get affected. This is terrible. When it's kind of like it's not so much bad that black men, all men. It's bad when it affects white men too. It shouldn't just be like, well, it affects black men, so we gotta care. No, we should care even if they were whites. Like I do wonder if black men stayed in school, but like 30% of white men chopped out, if these people would still care. And let's see. Well, what can you let's see. Well, you can put stats down to our good old masculine expectations again. It goes back to toxic masculinity. It's like this article seems to be actually be about putting men down. And I did try to look for a good article, but again, most articles I saw was from the Huffington Post, and I know they hate men, and I just couldn't find any. And this one seems like it would care about men's issues, from the title of it, and looks like I was trying. Oh, did you want to stay on this one? Like, did you have more to say?
No, I think I got everything out that I wanted to say about that.
Okay, let's see. Depression. Let's see. You go ahead.
Depression itself isn't solely a men's issue, correct? It affects people at all points on the social scale and can destroy your life no matter what chromosomes you have. In fact, a UK study went as far as to suggest that women are slightly more likely to suffer anxiety or depression than men. So you might be wondering why the hell I included it here. The answer is as simple as it is saddening. Men absolutely suck at handling mental illness.
Oh my
No
god,
joke.
that is a nasty burn. That is a
Yeah,
nasty burn there. Referring to men as if men are children. It's like, oh my goodness. That is just a nasty burn. Like that is almost hitting below the belt. I mean, that is
hmm
just that is something really awful you could say about a group of people. That is like saying black people totally suck at handling, a mental illness, or black people totally suck at handling, hard work, because black people face more unemployment than whites. So black people suck at handling hard work, or like black people totally suck at handling violence. you know
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like if you say the exact same thing about black people, it would sound totally and completely racist. Yeah, this person is saying this about men. Sorry, you could go ahead.
Okay. No joke, whereas women are likely to seek help for mental problems, we excuse me, we men are absolute experts at pretending there's nothing wrong, even if we're dying inside, and that's a major problem, because not getting help can lead down a very dark path indeed. Right now, suicide is the single biggest killer of young men in Britain, with America not far behind. To put it bluntly, if you're young and have a penis, you're more likely to kill yourself than you are to be killed by someone else, even in an active war zone. Okay, then. Read that again. The biggest killer of our troops in Afghanistan is not bombs, gunfire, or terrorism, it's suicide. By rights, this should be a national scandal, but because of our dumb ideas of masculinity, no one even wants to talk about it, and young lives continue to be wasted. Um, I'll admit that there are probably some very huge issues in the way that PTSD is treated when it comes to our combat veterans. So that I'm really not willing to dispute. Yet I'm I don't know. This kind of goes back to this whole idea of like toxic masculinity, and if if you keep saying toxic masculinity is toxic, then you start destroying masculinity. Rin, are you okay?
I'm apparently still alive, apparently, but
Okay. Well, after we finish this article, do you want to wrap it up?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So, um, yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to say about that particular section?
I already addressed what I wanted to say earlier.
All right. Let's go on to the last bit.
Violence.
Violence. Yes. Here we go. Probably another toxic masculinity thing. It's no secret that men that lead more violent lives than women were more likely to be murdered, more likely to be both perpetrators and victims of violent crime, more likely to join gangs, and more likely to get our asses thrown in jail. In fact, the only areas where women are more likely to be victims of violence than men, domestic abuse and sexual assault, are in categories where the perpetrators are frequently male. In other words, violence so completely permeates every aspect of our lives that it winds up damaging everyone, regardless of gender. So, what's going on? Well, it's almost certainly rooted in childhood. Boys are more likely to be beaten at school than girls, and parents are far more likely to encourage fights between boys. Think
What?
about it. It makes no sense. I mean, it's this idea of like toxic masculinity, and somehow that violence is inherently bad. I mean, for fuck's sake, they make it sound like if you're uh, two boys get into a fight, that's somehow a terrible thing, and you encourage that. You encouraged that?
Yeah, it's
Fuck
like,
no.
and parents are far more likely to encourage boys fights between boys. It's like, fuck, who? It's kind of like, I am pretty sure that if I go to my neighborhood and knock on the doors, and say, hey, do you encourage your boys to fight other boys? And I'm pretty sure that they would call the cops on me for harassing them, and they'll be greatly offended because, like, how dare you? Like, they probably would say that they raise their boys to be gentlemen. They don't want their boys to fight. Maybe for
Exactly.
self-defense, like maybe for self-defense, like if somebody's beating them, they don't want their boys to die, so they want them to fight back to protect themselves. But there's a huge difference between self-defense and like being a bully or just.
Exactly. Exactly. So, think about it. If one of your earliest experiences being told to punch that kid who insulted you, okay, what good parent is telling their kids that?
Yeah, who is
None.
telling who's telling their kids to punch their kid who insulted you? Which
The,
parents? Because if a parent is teaching their kids that, I'm pretty sure that they could get their child taken away from them. That's or pay a fine for that kind of parenting.
yeah, I don't know about that, but that does not sound like good parenting at all. Um, It's no great leap to imagine you'd reach adulthood thinking violence was the right response to, well, everything. And since our culture loves to reward aggression in the boardroom, on the sports field, in the military, it's easy to see why unlearning that lesson might be next to impossible. You're literally comparing apples and fish. Aggression in the boardroom, aggression on the sports field, aggression in the military, those are three highly separate categories. I mean, they are tangentially related at best. And if you're talking about aggression in the boardroom, that's like a chess game. That's like being aggressive in negotiating a deal on the sports field. That's physicality. That's being competitive, and those are good things. In the military, that's rote behavioral responses that are instilled during basic training, and it's not even some sort of like conscious aggression at that point. It's literally reflexive muscle memory. So
You oh,
uh,
go ahead, go ahead.
uh, basically all of those things that they just compared are not they're not aggression. They're completely different things, especially if they're trying to equate all of those things to like schoolyard violence or even just thuggery in general. No, you're comparing vastly different things, and I find this idea again going back to this idea of toxic masculinity. I find it incredibly offensive.
Yeah, you'd reach adulthood thinking violence was the right response to, well, everything. That must be so offensive to men, you know. That must be extremely offensive to me. I mean, you're probably offended by this article as well.
Oh yeah, I think it's ridiculous, and it has some nice little straw man that it's set up.
Yeah, I guess I'll lose my little shits lord badge before sending it. I thought it was about helping men, and I was totally wrong. I did try to Google men's rights, like men's rights, but it really is hard to find an article addressing men's rights. I had a hard time finding them to be honest.
Well, if you're looking for like men's rights advocates, I would say uh, perhaps maybe the Honey Badgers is going to be your best bet for like some sane MRAs who aren't completely off the rails. Although, then again, they have made some rather interesting comments about the state of women in Saudi Arabia that are a little short-sighted. Um, but then again, I guess I would have to say that nobody's perfect, and that was kind of an off-the-cuff remark that they made.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the things that bother me, and I'm probably definitely gonna lose my shits Lord batch for this, is that Karen Strong said something that I didn't really quite agree with. Like in the Middle East, women love wearing their that's mask and whatnot. But when I had
The
this,
hijab.
like the hijab or whatnot. But when I had Base Mama on, and when I've interviewed her, you guys probably don't have time to watch.
Yeah, no, the honey badgers in general, well, they do demonstrate a very strong and compelling case against many feminists in the West. When it comes to the Middle East, much like their feminist counterparts, they seem to be woefully ignorant of the conditions.
Yeah, because I had Base Mama on. It was a 5 hour interview, so I don't think many people would want to stick their 5 hours. But she said that when women wear the full thing that covers their face, that
Hmm.
covers everything except the eyes, women are getting terribly beaten. Women have teeth missing under them. I mean, women probably don't want to show their faces when you have a bunch of missing teeth because men are kicking them in the face. Women are getting terribly beaten. It's kind of like she actually took part. And because I asked her, what did you did as a Muslim that you she regrets? And she said that she took parts in a whipping, and it was in America, and but there was a Muslim community in America, and they had a whip, and they were giving like a 16-year-old girl a bunch of lashes, and it's kind of like, she was screaming in pain, she was just screaming in pain, and she passed out from those
Hmm.
whipping, and
Holy shit.
her father was there crying tears of joy because he felt like she was shaming his family because she kissed a boy, so she dishonored him. So he was glad that the whipping would help him get his honor back. And it's kind of like, it's like the Habib and whatnot, whatever it's called, it's hiding all the proof of abuse. Like if women were to remove it, you would probably find missing teeth, you would find bruises and scars, evidence and signs of abuse.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
So when Karen Strong says that, like, oh, women in America
Yeah.
love wearing that thing, it's kind of like, are you a woman in the Middle East? Because at least, I mean, I've never been to the Middle East myself, but from talking to an ex-Muslim, you know, an ex-Muslim says like, oh no, it's to cover up proof of abuse. It's not really because women love those things. It's to hide
Mm-hmm.
all the signs of abuse. So even
Yeah.
I've never been to the Middle East, at least I've spoken to a person who's had some firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's my major criticism of the honey badgers is much like their feminist counterparts, they simply don't really pay attention to what's going on in the Middle East and therefore are woefully ignorant and underqualified to speak intelligently to the issues of women in the Middle East. Because I think ultimately, at the end of the day, if any part of the world needs uh, rational second wave feminism, it is these third world countries in the Middle East, in Africa, etc., etc. But they don't need this kind. They need rational second wave feminism, not overbearing third wave social justice warrior bullshit.
Yeah, I think that the Middle East could probably benefit from first wave feminism.
Hmm.
But I don't think I agree that third wave feminism isn't needed in the Middle East, and I'm afraid that feminism would probably, you know, go the wrong way in the Middle East, the way it's going the wrong way here. But at the exact same time, I still want these women to get help, though. And I agree with what you had to say about the honey badgers. It's kind of a lot like I just think I wish that they would take the time out to do more research on the Middle East before forming an opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, if you want, we could just end it here. I mean,
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me on. It was fun. We got to do a little bit of trolling and have some fun with some Twitter uh, trolling, as it were. But I hope to do this again with you soon.
yeah, I don't know what happened. I had a coughing fit. Then I have a terrible headache. My throat hurts. It's like I don't know.
Well, it's all right. You get some rest, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you for coming.
Of course. Take care.
Bye, everybody.